Now, let's talk about China. Y'all switched from Canadian manufacturing?
We manufactured in Canada. Caribou Lodge originally started with all the manufacturing being done in Canada. And then we were having some issues with maintaining quality, and our design started getting more complicated. The machine shops were very large machine shops that had much, much bigger customers than us. And spending a ton of time on a little tiny order of yo-yos just wasn't a priority for them. So then we moved to machining in the US and did that for a few years, and then just started having issues there that we just were having issues with, sometimes it'd be issues with machining, sometimes it'd be issues with anodizing, and we just started having like weird delays in production stuff that we just couldn't solve. So we tried out a machine shop in China, and everything just kind of clicked. Like it just sort of worked out, and the quality was there, and they were super fun to work with and deal with. It was a really tiny shop. It was just like 3 people, and it just sort of worked out, and we've been using them ever since. And so we've got a couple places in China that we kind of work with, and it just works. So I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings on outsourcing to China. But to be fair, we're a Canadian company, so making them in the US was outsourcing anyway. Realistically for us, it's a matter of is the experience of making these good, and is the end quality something that we're proud of? And if the answer to both of those questions is yes, then the country is irrelevant.
Straight up, there was a perception for a long time that Chinese yo-yos were inferior, and they were definitely cheaper to cost-wise, but there was associations with them, and that's gone. I mean, you just can't make that argument anymore. There's good shops in the U.S. that do amazing stuff, but it's not like you're sacrificing quality for something.
Yeah, and it used to be the case. I think the biggest issues with China quality came from the fact that you had people that were sourcing yo-yos in China that did not understand the difference between working with an American shop and a Chinese shop. And they also just didn't understand the difference between working with a machine shop that makes just yo-yos versus a machine shop that makes multiple other things. So, the thing about quality is that you will always get what you pay for, right? So there's a ton of ultra cheap places to get yo-yos made, and you're going to get crappy yo-yos out of that. But if you go for a specialty shop with good people and you're willing to pay, more of a premium price for that, then you'll get a good product.
So are y'all working with like one of those companies that is a boutique-y yo-yo kind of ready company, or are you doing some hardcore, like you're in China looking at the different factories and kind of?
Yes.
Okay. Because my experience is definitely, the Icarus was definitely a really simple, like they would even, if I sent them like a napkin sketch, they would have made it for me, and it was the first time I tried actually making my own CAD file. But even then, like if I would have gone to most manufacturers over there, they just wouldn't have gotten what I was going for.
Right.
But, the price is slightly inflated. If I could have found those other factories and not have the middleman. Yeah. So I was kind of wondering what scale y'all are at.
Yeah, I mean, we're still on a very, very, very small scale. Like we are not, somebody like Duncan or Yo-Yo Factory where we're manufacturing a ton of yo-yos. Like we're still doing runs of like 150, 250 pieces. Like if we make 250 of something, we're like, that's a nail biter for us, But there's a lot of really good machine shops in China for yo-yos, and we've been really fortunate that, all the ones that we worked with have done great jobs for us.
I also thought, for me personally, because I know that there's some animosity from noisy people, because there's always going to be the noisy minority or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, I'm going to find my boutique advantage. My advantage is going to be that I'm going to make American-made yo-yos. And then I found out my audience largely didn't care. As much as it was important to me. So now I just, I do both. I definitely want to have some yo-yos that I can keep the price down, because that's what most of my audience, bottom line, just want to know how much it costs. And then there's others that want to be participating in something and, really care about where it's made and how it's made. We document it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of do both.
I think really, if you're making a good product and you have a good story behind it, and you are proud of it, then you should put that out, and that should be that. And if that's the story that people want to hear and want to support, then they will. And if they want a different story that starts and ends in a different country, then they're going to support somebody with that story. And at this point, there's no shortage of people making yo-yos. So realistically, buy whatever makes you happy.